first warm welcome to John. John, I'm going to try to pronounce your name. If I get it wrong, please don't get medieval on me. It's Dabrowski? Dabrowski.
Very close, but very good.
Thank you very much. Now, John, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Welcome to the couch. And clearly, before we go into your life, you clearly were a man into golf.
Golf with a big ball.
There you are.
That's right. Yeah.
Tell me a bit about the basketball.
Yeah.
Connection to yourself.
Yeah, it was interesting. I played basketball to a decent level. I played professionally and internationally. Played for the England in the Commonwealth Games.
Wow.
And surprisingly, I still hold the British record for the most points scored in a match. It's been about 35 years I've held it now. It's 98 points in a single match, which is quite remarkable.
98 points. Okay,
Yeah.
Before you go any further, is that 98 2-pointers or was 3-pointers involved in that time?
2-pointers. Which, good point, I hadn't thought about that. 2-pointers only. Yeah, it was
Wow.
one of those, I call it being in the zone. You've probably heard that phrase. Where
Yes.
you don't know, the subconscious takes over. There were 3 players hanging off me at one stage and I was still scoring. It was one of those great games, you get one in your lifetime. It's like scoring a couple of holes in one in golf, I guess.
Was that filmed? Was that match filmed?
Sadly not.
Wow. Oh, what a pity.
Yeah.
Go back and do it now. I'm sure you can
Yeah,
do it again.
do it again. Man.
You know? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so right. So you were into basketball, loved it. You're based in Nottingham, even with that accent, which doesn't sound Nottingham.
No, I've been around. And I played professionally in Sunderland, so I went to the North East for 13 years.
Wow.
So I picked up a bit of that accent. I was then general manager of the Manchester Giants over at Manchester for a year, a bit of that accent. Then I was in Birmingham, playing for Team Fiat in Birmingham. So I've been around the country, so I picked up different accents, and no one really knows where I'm from unless I tell them.
Okay, but you're also now currently a motivational speaker, would that be correct to say?
Absolutely, yes.
Now, for those who have no idea what that means, and clearly would have mental health issues if they didn't, what would that mean?
It means to inspire people, to give them the hope of achieving more than they are doing, to change the mindset, to give them a positive outlook on life, and to achieve more, to unlock that potential. And that's what I do with one-to-one coaching, with training with companies up to staffs of 20, and then on stage to more than 100, potentially.
So when did you know this was your area of forte?
About 7 years ago. And it was 7 years ago when I met a guy called Dave Clark, and he'd sailed across the Atlantic single-handedly.
Why?
Because he wanted to.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, and he wrote a book, and that was nice. But then, 7 years ago, he decided to give up his business for a year, bring a CEO in, and design and build a rowing boat, and then row across the Atlantic single-handedly, which is crazy because it's 3,000 miles, only less than 100 people have ever done it, solo. But he decided to do it, and this CEO he brought in knew me, and he knew I was into the mind stuff, into positive mindset, and he got me together with Dave, and this was the first time I'd experienced coaching someone without knowing really what I was doing. I'd done a couple of courses, and so that helped, and I just got him to visualise the outcome, visualise getting there, visualise getting stronger in the second half, and to believe in himself. And I fed the subconscious a little bit, and it worked. 83 days, blood and tears, he got there, made it, and that was the moment I realised I've got something here. Wouldn't it be great? I was working for a company at the time, from home, so I managed to do this in the evenings, and then I realised that I've got something here. Wouldn't it be great to be able to have this as a career? And it wasn't until 3 years later I faced redundancy with the company I was with, and normally I'd jump to another job, but I thought, no, this is my moment. I'm going to go for it. So I allowed the redundancy to flow while I took some courses in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. I'm a coach and a practitioner in that. And then I set up on my own in the middle of a recession with no clients.
Like your style.
Yeah, tough. But my area of expertise, I guess, is mental resilience, mental toughness. And I had to show some of that for that. And I'll be honest with you, the first couple of years, that was about 3 years ago, up to about 3 years ago, I was decorating a lot to pay the bills. I had to do something. And I thought, no, I'm going to make this work. I'll do what it takes. And so I was decorating all over Nottingham, all over the place. And I developed a nice business, actually. I didn't want it, but it paid the bills. And about 2.5 years ago, I didn't need any more of that. The business is now taking off quite quickly. And it's getting very exciting.
Now, in this room here, you've got like quite a few pictures, and they're in frames. Now, tell me about a particular frame that you had done once.
Oh, very good link.
It's a gift, isn't it? It's a gift.
It's a gift. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's great. And it's a frame. I visualised. I read it somewhere in a motivational book that if you want to achieve something and get something in life, i.e. get married, I've been married twice before, got it wrong twice, I'll be honest, but I believe if you learn from your mistakes, they're not failures, they're learning experiences. I learned all the things I've done wrong. I realised the kind of lady I really should be with. I then bought this frame. I remember picture myself actually picking the frame out very carefully, a small frame, very nice. I then took it into my bedroom, put it there, and every night I visualised a picture of me and my wife in the frame in the future. And I did it day after day after day. And it took me about 3 months until the picture started to form. And I could then see that it was outside, that there was me on this side, the bride on that side. I couldn't see the facial features, but I could see everything else. And eventually it was there. So I was so convinced about it, I let it go. And they say, let it go into the universe, do it, and just let it go. I let it go, and then it was within 6 months, 8 months, Julie came into my life.
Is this real or is this a dream you had?
This is real.
Oh, really?
It's absolutely real.
Okay.
I also have a great friend called Barry Manson. And 3 years ago, I was having a meal with him over in Sheffield, and I stood about it. I remember walking past the table, and suddenly I had this moment where I said, Barry, will you be my best man? We'll get married again.
And
that was 3 years ago.
And you hadn't met Julie?
No, I wasn't even looking. I literally just had this feeling that I'm going to get married again. And he said, yes, I'll be your best man.
I'm hearing this tune in my head. I'm hearing Twilight Zone. You're spooky. Yes. So this is all true?
Yes, absolutely.
Would Barry, if I rang Barry up, Barry would say this is all true and this man's not on mental health tablets?
Absolutely, because 3 weeks ago he gave his best man speech at my wedding to Julie, 3 weeks ago.
Okay,
and, you know,
Julie.
She's here now, she's with me now.
Okay, well done, Julie. Okay, wow, that's scary. Okay,
yeah.
So your message to people is if you want it, you can get it? What would you say?
Yeah, what I say is if you don't see it before you see it, you'll never see it. If you don't see it before you see it, you'll never see it. Meaning, if you don't see it inside your head first, you'll never get it. All these high achievers, the Bransons, all of them have seen it in their heads, they've dreamt. Walt Disney saw it all developed before he actually saw it physically. And so I have something called a dream board. A dream board, it's called a vision board or a dream board. I've got 24 things on there that I want to achieve in the next 20 years. There's no plan to get them. There's nothing like that. There's no steps in that, because I don't like plans and steps. I have to go for things. One of them's a cruise liner. I wanted to speak on a cruise line. And the way this seems to work is that I knew where the place was to go for the audition. It was at Eastbourne down in London. It was all the way down there. You had to have a 45-minute audition with a panel. You had to come back. Expensive. I never got round to it. I got this dream board with a picture of a cruise liner on the board. I then, within 3 weeks, by visualising every day, imagining having achieved this, I then picked the phone up suddenly. To this day, I've got no idea why I picked it up. And I said, can I come for an interview? They said, well, I'm not sure about your topic, but come down anyway. I went down there, passed the audition, and 6 months later, I got a cruise. They said it was going to be the Mediterranean or the Canaries. It was the Caribbean. A 2-week Caribbean cruise, free. And I was speaking on it, and I'd seen every bit of it. So my visualisation was, I was in the cabin sleeping, I was on this stage to the audience, I was eating the nice meals. I did it all before it happened, and then suddenly it happened. So that's one I've ticked off, and now we're looking at Royal Caribbean. I've got connections with Royal Caribbean now, and we're trying to get one of them, because that's the biggest. Because the cruise I went on was a smaller one with older people, which is fine, but I had the 3 o'clock slot in the afternoon, and they were having their afternoon naps. So the audience wasn't completely full, but the ones that did turn up loved it. And so they said, and I'll be getting more with that particular company, I'll be getting more cruises. With Julie, she comes free with me, so that's fantastic. But the one I really want is the Royal Caribbean, because they're the big ones. And I think a big 4,000-seater cruise line, which is a family cruise, with the MDs and sons and daughters, would be perfect for my kind of style of presenting, which is confidence building, motivation, inspiration, sleep, which you mentioned earlier, all these techniques I can share with people and help them live fuller lives.
Okay, so let me ask you a few questions. You've influenced many people, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Who would you say is the most influential person that you've interviewed? And you can't include me in the list.
I mean, it's got to be Dave Clark, the guy who rode across the Atlantic. He's now a record holder. He's a Guinness World Record holder. He's written 2 books. He's done that adventure. It's a remarkable feat that he's achieved, and he's a down-to-earth guy. I'm coaching him now. I've been coaching him for 7 years. I'm still coaching him. And in fact, we've agreed now that I'm going to be coaching him during this year. And next January or February, we're both going to Dubai, because I want to speak in Dubai. It's on my dream board. It's there, and it's actually happening now. I've got 5 connections that have happened because of this dream board. So things are developing very quickly in that area. But once I'm out there, I can set up meetings, and once I've got one, then the whole thing can start to open up, because they love sport. Out there, they love sport apparently. And there's a guy out there already who said he's convinced there'll be interviews. They'll be interested in interviewing me out there to talk about my stuff and the way I inspire people.
2 days ago, 2 things. 2 days ago, I had a dream that I was trying to shoot a basket. That's quite rubbish actually. And then I meet this young man, who's quite brilliant, you know, holds the record. And secondly, 2 weeks ago, I came back from Dubai.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Another connection. This is how it seems to work.
But true.
Because, and this is how it happens. I've got so many connections. I've probably got 7 or 8 now, all genuine leads to Dubai. And if you see it long enough and visualise it long enough, I believe it starts to come into your life.
Okay. How would you define purpose?
Purpose?
In my head, right?
Yeah.
Purpose is this. In my head, but you may say it's slightly different. I get up in the morning, say I got up on a Tuesday, no, it was Wednesday, and I got up and I said to myself, hobnobs. I'm going to eat the entire pack of hobnobs. Just do it. Yeah, 1 hour. Is that purpose?
It is, actually. It's focused, it's specific.
You know that.
And you know, come on.
Yes, crumbs, but it's all about reality.
It is. And it gives you that hit, doesn't it? That hobnob hit.
Takes you there, man.
Yeah.
But your definition?
Yeah, purpose. My definition is clear, defined purpose of what you want to achieve, and not necessarily how you're going to get there, but a passion. I think the key is passion. If you're passionate about something, I was passionate about basketball. I was passionate up to the age of 25 when I turned professional. I've turned professional, and within 6 weeks I had a slip disc. Career was over.
Wow.
I had a choice to go back to my job, which was open, or stick it out. And because I made a commitment, and in my talks I talk about 5 key mental pillars, and one of them is commitment, and there's motivation, control, focus, and self-belief. But that I'd made the commitment, so I got an osteopath, got myself fixed up, and for the next 2 years I played all over Europe. But the greatest thing was that the last game I ever played was at Empire Pool, Wembley, in front of 10,000 people, live BBC television coverage, and we won the big playoffs.
Wow.
That was a fantastic way to finish, and on the back of that. So I was passionate about that, but I wasn't passionate about all my career in between where I am now. So it was radio sales, it was advertising agencies, marketing agencies, all good jobs, but I wasn't passionate. I've now found something that I'm so passionate about, I can't tell you, which is motivating people, inspiring people. Because I was a boy of 5 years of age. I was fluent in Polish, but no English, because I was born to Polish parents. So in school, I had to stand up and read. I couldn't, and I got laughed at. I used to stand up, get laughed at, sniggered, laughed at, so my confidence was blown. As a 12-year-old boy, I was in Beckett Grammar School in Nottingham, West Britchard. I remember the first PE lesson, we were all lined up against the wall, the boys, and they picked out 4 boys to be captains. And they stepped out, turned round, and one by one they picked the favourite boys to be in their teams. And I was going, pick me, pick me. And I'd grown too quick. I was gangly. I was rubbish. I was useless, no confidence. And I remember looking around thinking, I wonder who the last one's going to be. There's only a few left. And I looked around again, and there was no one left except me. So I was the last one off the wall. And because of that, my confidence was shot, so I hated PE. So I did everything I could to get out of it. I was injured, ill, and so on. But that year, this is quite miraculous, my parents took me abroad to meet my uncle for the first time in Poland, and he played basketball for the army basketball team. He was 6'9" tall. Wow, monster of a guy. And I've got this one snapshot where I'm looking up at him, and he's showing me something and shooting the ball into the basket, and I came back with a fire in here. And when I came back, I begged my mum for a basketball, and eventually she bought me one, so I practiced shoot. I didn't know what I was doing, but one day, not long after, I was the second last off the wall. And that difference that made, that a captain chose me over someone else. And I remember walking towards that captain going, yes! I felt wanted for the first time in my life. And
Fantastic.
I remember looking back on the boy and saying, I'll never be that boy again. And that's when I started to practice.
Was that me, by the way?
Oh, yeah. I went to see the Harlem Globetrotters, and they were just a fantastic team. They inspired me, and I watched all the best players. My dad was a fantastic gardener. He had the best garden in the entire street, and I persuaded him to build a basketball ring in the garden. Within weeks, it was wiped out. The garden had gone. The flowers, the grass, everything. But I did thank him. He passed away 3 years ago. I thanked him about 10 years ago. I got it. Because he sacrificed his garden for me, because he saw his son growing in confidence. So my inspiration, my passion is, I've been there with no friends, no confidence, nothing, shot, destroyed. But with a magic moment with my uncle, everything changed. And that's what I do now. I've got coaching clients that within 2 sessions are different people, just with some quick techniques, mindset change, and from being negative thinkers to switching to positive very quickly, and suddenly the life takes off. Fantastic.
I know we've only got a few minutes, and I'm dreading. This is coming to an end. You've got a basketball. Can you spin it, or is that just a prop?
It's a prop.
Okay.
I don't know. I can have a go.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a prop. It's real. Well done.
Nailed it. Thank you.
A book. If you had to sort of recommend a book that was about life and inspiring, etc., what book would you recommend? I don't say Will in the Willows.
Yeah. It has to be the one that changed my life, which is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie.
Oh, yeah.
It's a famous book, incredible book, about using first names, about caring about people, about making a difference. And it's just some techniques that are really simple that make you very popular and very comfortable with people. So that's a great book. Also, I recommend, I won't say the title, but Mental Resilience by John Dabrowski. It's coming. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was going to give a title, but that's a secret yet.
No problem.
It's coming out October the 24th. Waterstones just agreed to launch this year in Nottingham, 4th biggest Waterstones in the country. And it's 5 o'clock. Just a little
I'm
plug
going to
there.
be
How
there.
exciting is that?
And I'm going to buy one, and you must sign it for
I
me.
will. And you know what? In school, I got the lowest grade possible in English, and I've never studied it since. And yet now I'm sending out blogs every week that people are loving, and I'm writing a book. I don't get it. And that's because you never know what your potential is until you try.
So your blog, if people want to actually see your blog, what is the blog title?
The blog, if they just go onto my website, which is jdmindcoach.co.uk, on the bottom of the home page is a sign up. And it's really kind of exciting what's happening, because it's like a living story, my blog. It's different to most people's blogs. And I always have a little tip and a technique in there, but it's like an ongoing story. And I can't wait for the next chapter. So this is going to be mentioned on the next blog, but I kept it secret from the last blog.
Good man.
Yeah.
Final question. What does ZeN mean to you, if anything?
It's doing things together. It's sharing a passion for making a difference, lifting people, a community thing. I go to a local church and it's over in Langley Mill, and they're doing a project this Saturday, actually, ironically, where they're just loving people. They're getting the food out, the bouncy castle, the ice cream vans, and just the whole community is being positive, showing love, showing positivity. So that's what it is about: community. It's about sharing, it's about lifting, it's about helping, it's being caring.
John, you were mind blown. Absolutely blew my mind.
Wow.
Before we cut and go, I'm going to give you this pen.
Oh.
This is a nothing pen, but hopefully on October, the date, what do you
24th,
say? You will use that
Saturday.
pen to sign a book for me.
For you personally,
yes.
Extra special messages.
If you don't mind.
I will do it.
It has nothing to do with hobnobs.
Yeah.
It's something inspirational.
Yes.
Have that pen and keep it, and we'll meet then.
Fantastic.
Take care, my friend.
Thank you.
Bless.